actually, because I feel like there's an awful echo. You're all welcome anyway, and it's great to see so many familiar faces here after a 2.5-year hiatus. We haven't met here or met in a meeting since February of 2020, which is hard to believe. I often think of that meeting over there that Larry Brennan gave that great talk on, and there were so many of us in there, but anyway, it's great to be back. We have had Zoom meetings in the meantime. Those of you that are on the internet, we do have a YouTube channel, and those those recordings are up online. Now, we are not, this is being recorded, this talk tonight. We're not on Zoom this evening, but we probably will be going back to Zoom at some point, and that is, it's just for our international members who were very disappointed that we weren't Zooming this evening, but we are recording this evening, so they will get that recording. So I want to get into the talk there, but before I do, I want to mention just two quick things that Dolores has asked me. Well, one that Dolores has asked me to mention. For any member that has an AirCom email address in the past, would you give Dolores your new email address this evening if it is changed from AirCom? Because as you know, AirCom is charging now so a lot of people switched over. So if you had an AirCom email address that you used for Clare Root Society contact, please let Dolores know what the new email address is if you change over from AirCom, okay? That's just a quick thing. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that because we hadn't met in 2.5 years, there's been changes, and a number of our long-standing members and founding members, some of them have passed away, and I just want to remember them this evening. Jerry Kennedy, who was a founding member of Clare Root Society, and a very, very experienced local historian from Crusheen, Tony Cassidy, who was the man that knew everything there was to know about post offices. He also passed away. Oliver Moylan passed away recently, another very good historian in the Ennis area. Michael Falvey, who I believe was a founding member as well, very, very knowledgeable. Christine and John O'Neill, Jim Mollahan from Quilty and Dublin, and Eileen Clancy O'Shaughnessy from Dublin and Kilmaley. So those, just to remember that those members have passed away since we last met. So I think, I know that Lucille Ellis, and I better mention this before I get started, Lucille has a question that she wanted to throw out to the audience there. Can I let you do that now, Lucille?
That's all right with you. I'm writing a book on Mill Road and Harmony Road. There is a cottage beside the old school, between the old school and Harmony House, which is curtained over the accountants. It's an empty site at the moment. There is a gable end of the cottage, right? I can find nothing about this.
We can give you that information. That's my brother Mike.
Oh,
Right. They're going to go on the property one stage.
Perfect.
Thank you. Well done. That's great. Thanks a million for that now. So I thought of that. Now, I'm going to get started because I think probably next month our meeting will start at 8:15, just because of the previous meeting or the previous occupants. But I'll mention that again. Anyway, I'm going to get started. What I'm talking about this evening, it's not a long talk. I'm going to talk about the updates of the Clare genealogy resources. And because of COVID, a lot of stuff has gone online. There's been a big push to put more information online because we were all locked down and we could only access information through our computers. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of some of the websites and some of the new things that are up online. And so I'm going to start here. That's just the title. Just to give you a little bit, I know most of you are Clare Root Society, long-standing Clare Root Society members, but for people that are new here tonight, The Clare Root Society was founded in 2006, and it was founded by a group of people that were genealogy-minded individuals who wanted to share, record, and preserve the local history and the local genealogical information in County Clare. Members are very generous to share the local knowledge and to share tips about their own genealogical experience and journey. We do not undertake commission research because we're all volunteers. There are a list of researchers which you can get from the National Library website should you wish to undertake commission research. Now, some of us do commission research, but not all Clare Root Society members. So just a quick thing about the Clare Root Society. So the Clare Library is really very entwined in a lot of ways with the Clare Root Society because Clare Root Society members have been very generous donating material to the Clare Library website, and that is really the gold standard of library websites in Ireland. I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but it really is. That's the reality. It's a website that is used all around the world for anybody that has Clare roots or Clare ancestry. And there have been a number of things put up on the website in the last 2 years. So can you still hear me if I pull this back, Craig? Because I just don't like that thing. Anyway. I think all of the baptism and marriage registers that you can find on the National Library website that are on the scans there through the National Library website, they have all been transcribed and they are up on the Clare Library website. And they have been done by a lovely lady by the name of Sheila Duddy. She created a template and she has just bombed through these baptism and marriage registers. And they're not only the ones, if any of you know, County Clare isn't just the Diocese of Killaloe, but some of County Clare is the Diocese of Galway. So some of those are actually Galway diocesan parishes up around Ennis in that area. So they are all online, and what she hadn't completed before COVID began, she has more or less completed now. So they are well worth checking, and she has them arranged by date, and she also has them arranged by father's name and then by mother's name. So they're really, really useful to, if you want to look through parish registers. And then the beauty of that is you can go from her transcription back into the National Library website and see the actual digital scan. So that's something that is new. Death registers, now they're not a normal document that you would see. We were lucky enough to discover that Clonlee Parish, which is actually Kilkishen O'Callaghan's Mills, just stumbled on this about 4 years ago. And myself and Larry Parks transcribed the Clonlee death register, which was it's in O'Callaghan's Mills Parish office. It was kind of stuck in with the baptism and marriage registers. It covers 1843 to 1878. Now what is phenomenal about this is 1843, it covers the famine years, and it is pretty harrowing reading. Larry and I said that, if you look at the register there online, you'll see where whole families die between let's say the beginning of 1 month to the end of another month. It's actually very, it gives you probably a very common thing that happened in rural parishes throughout Ireland. But this has been noted, and the parish priest noted this, and he actually noted that people were dying by starvation. So that's it's really very significant in that regard. So I'm going to go on to graveyard transcriptions. Find a Grave is always adding, they're always updating. New Clare graveyards they're in the Clare Library. Milltown on the little link there, and I will list the links there. Those will be sent out to members, so there will be a list of links going out. Milltown, Mulbay, Kilmurray, Bricken are two of several graveyards that have been updated. And as well as that, the IGP website, if some of you are familiar with that, the Irish Genealogy Project's website, it's another volunteer website, and it's arranged by county. The County Clare section of that, there have been updates. Aileen Wynn, I don't think she's here this evening, but she's very active in that, and she'd probably be able to tell you exactly what's been updated. But there have been a number of updates in relation to that. Land records. One of the things that has been done in the last while is that the land and estate court rentals, which are available on the Find My Past website, and they're also available in the Hardeman Library in Galway, and I think there's somewhere else they're available. I can't think of it at the moment, but anyway, James Hardeman Library has them, and Find My Past has them, which is a subscription site. But those have been scanned, and Peter Byrne in the Local Studies Center, who many of you know, has gone and arranged, created an index, and he's organized the collection, which is there for reference. That the copies of the rentals are there for reference, but he's arranged the collection by townland, by date of sale, and by the owner or vendor. And that's a really amazing collection in a lot of ways, because it covers the years of 1850 to 1885-ish. And it's essentially the estates that would have been sold or transferred, sold after the famine, where landlords or the landowners fell into financial difficulties. These estates would have been put up for sale. And that's where you have this new breed of buyer that is coming in, that's not necessarily tied to the area or to the land, but they're buying it as on spec or as an investment. And the court rentals, they include information about who holds the land when it is put up for sale, so you get lots of tenant names. It also gives you information about what they hold. I found a phenomenal notation in a landed estate court rental for somebody down in County Limerick, where the lease was noted that the individual who held the land was the fourth son of so-and-so, which was great information because it gave me the listing of how this person, where he fit into the family. So it's really good, and it's great because, like I said, it does give you the collection. There is organized by townland, and some of the townlands as well. There's some interesting names that you don't hear anymore. So and there's some beautiful maps as well associated with it. There are really some fabulous maps in that landed estate court rentals. So it's a nice collection if you get a chance, but you'd have to go into the Local Studies Center to look at it if you didn't have a subscription to Find My Past. As well as that, another new thing that has come on is the Petworth House collection, and I believe Terry Shue Smith has done that. Now, the Petworth House collection it's a collection that's held in England, and it's affiliated, or it's held really by the descendants of Wyndham, Lord Wyndham, and one of those descendants was over here several years ago. But there's a lot of records and a lot of documentation that's associated with it. Some of it is online, but not all of it. So Terry Shue Smith has gone and she has done an index of all the documents that are held in the collection. Now, I'm not sure if she's given information, if she's let you, if that information notes whether it's online or if it's on site, but it's still very useful to look at, because if you were looking for something particular, or if you knew that you had an ancestor that was renting lands that were Wyndham, Wyndham-connected lands, and there would be a lot of them around around County Clare. It's just a very useful resource to be able to go back and see if there is anything there that would, that could connect up with your family that's worth pursuing to find out more information. So that's something it's not really a well-known collection, but it is there, and like I said, there is this index. And I believe she did an index several months ago, and she's since updated that. So she, she's working away on it, so it is pretty up to date. So that's that's another thing that can be very helpful. The Irish Registry of Deeds Index Project, and that is something that has been promoted and really has been very actively done by members of the Irish Genealogical Research Society. They have been doing the transcription and updating Registry of Deeds over a long number of years, really, and they have created this index by townland, by surname, the grantor's surname, and by number. And they have almost 500,000 entries to date, which is really, really good. Now the index is well worth a look because you can input a surname, you can input a townland into it, and it covers, the Registry of Deeds covers land transfers, but purchases, marriage settlements are covered in it, leases, annuities can come up in it, and wills. So it can give you really, there's a whole variety of different events that can be taken down or that come up in Registry of Deeds. So the information that this group of transcribers has been working on, they have gotten it through the Family Search website, where the Registry of Deeds are actually the microfilm. It's been scanned onto the Family Search website, but it's extremely tedious to go through them. So it might be, if you thought you were going to do some Registry of Deeds work or you wanted to have a look at it, it might be worth going into the index project first and having a quick look at that before you then delve into the actual microfilm scans on the Family Search site. So that's something that is, and that's been significantly added into. And there's a number of transcribers, volunteers that are working on that as we speak. Now, another thing that has been added onto is the school registers. And there's a number of them that have been updated in the last 2.5 years. Rowan and Dicer are online now, and this is on the Clare Library website. They're all on the Clare Library website. Cooling Bridge, some of you with East Clare roots, Cooling Bridge has been updated, yeah. Tulla Boys and Girls School, as well as Glandry and Drum Charlie. Now these are not, I did those, they're not full, full like 1870 to 1920 or whatever. They're what's there, what still exists, but they're very useful and very interesting to read if you have any ancestry there. Ballier and Tir McLean have also been updated. And then in addition to that, there are subscription lists for the Ennis Diocesan College from 1881, Ennis Diamond Christian Brothers from 1872, and the Kilrush Convent of Mercy. And I don't have a year of that, but those would give lists of people that would have subscribed to that. And of course, it's local names, and it's names for that, that era, that 1881, for example, in Ennis Diocesan College in 1872. And school registers give lots of information in the sense that they not only give the name of the child, but they also will give, in some cases, they'll give a birth or a baptismal day, birth date, or they'll give a year of birth. They'll also give the father's name and the father's occupation and the residence of the child. So they can be very useful from that point of view. It is interesting, I know in one of the registers there, I think it was in Glandry, there were several men, fathers I should say, that would have been pensioners. So that's just an interesting occupation to have had. And then they will also tell you where if a child is, let's say, midway through school, not just starting school, but starting a new school, where they were previously. So you might find that a child was in Galway previously, so then you'd know, well, the family must have been up in Galway, the previous year. So it's a nice way to track. And like that, a lot of them are the late 19th century, so we don't have the censuses to help us, so it's just another way of tracking a family and it's not, that may not be very easy to track during that time. So the Irish Genealogy website, you're probably all familiar with that. That is the civil records that are available. It's a government website. They are updating, they've recently updated that you can now get births up to 1922, marriages up to 1947, and deaths up to 1972. And of course, that's a great website. I appreciate that because it's free. It's not like the GRO in England where you have to register and you have to buy credits and that sort of thing. This is totally free. Now it's not, you're getting the actual record, but just to note that there are some errors in where some of these records have been put. For example, a number of the Tulla records in the late 1800s, not all of them, but from a certain group of years are in the Galway, under County Galway. So it's just to be aware of that. But it's a great, in fairness, the government has done a great job. It's a very, very good website. And like that, they are updating as they go along. So next year, they're keeping within the 100-year rule for the birth. So next year, it'll be up to 1923, 48, and 73, and so on. Newspapers and periodicals. Newspapers are great sources, and they are really coming on. I think they see the value of digitizing newspapers because people will pay to subscribe to these sites to be able to look at old newspapers online. And the Clare Champion is now online through the Irish Newspaper Archives, which is a subscription site, just to be forewarned. Having said that, it's something that is, if you have access to, now I don't think it's accessible here for free on in the De Valera Library, but if you had access to UL Library or some of the other, maybe Dublin City Library, I'm not sure, National Library of Ireland would have a lot, but you'd have to attend there. They'd have a lot of the newspapers online. It's well worth looking at, and like that, it's great to have the Clare Champion on that site. For a long time, the Clare papers, the only Clare papers that you were really able to get were the ones through the British Newspaper Archives. They had the Clare Journal and some of the other older Clare papers online there. So you have the choice now, and both sites are very good. Irish Newspaper Archives is quite good, and the British Newspaper Archives are as well. So that's something that has come on recently, and that has really, that's a great addition. Now, other collections that have come on, the folklore collection, Dukas collection. The Dukas collection has all the school's folklore online, and that I think is complete. I'm nearly certain that's complete. That's the 1937 and 1938 collection that the kids who attended at that time went home, and they got the older folks in the community to share stories, and that's a really, it's a terrific collection. And like that, it's great for genealogists. You get family names, and you get stories, and you get a lot of traditions, cures, and different events are noted, and names do come up. But as well as that, the manuscript collection now is being put online. Now there are some Clare parishes that are online, but I'm disappointed because Tulla's not online yet, but it will be at some stage. What the manuscripts collection is, the 1937-38 collection was so successful that they continued, the folklorists continued to go back to in some cases the parish priest, in most cases the school teacher, the schoolmaster, and ask them to continue to collect stories. Now, the schoolmaster in Tulla did that, and he actually did that into the 60s until he wrote them a nasty note to tell them in the 60s that he was going blind and he couldn't take it down any more work. But he had sent a number of stories off, and it's fantastic that it did continue. So that is being put online, like I said, at the moment. Some schools are done for Clare, but not all of them, but it's well worth, I can't think off the top of my head what schools in Clare are already up there. But it's well worth a look at, and they will all be put up online. The other thing I was going to mention is the National Archives in England, in the UK. Now, when COVID first came, everybody shut down, the National Archives shut down in the UK, but what they started doing is they started they put a number of their collections online. So what you could do is, you could register, which is for free, and you could then go in and view these collections. And there were really some really good things that you could pull off of it. I know that there was some great information on local men from, and I know I'm talking about Tulla all the time, but that's because I live there. That, for instance, Tulla men that served in the military. So those records were online, and you could, now not everything was on, but there was a lot of stuff online, and they were very generous about that. And they actually continued with that. I think that is still the case. Now, even though they're open again, and for the most part, for specific records or for large collections, you would have to go to Kew. There is still this online facility. So it is worth checking with them, because a lot of these repositories that had to close, they do see the value of having records online for people, because it does keep the traffic, maybe some of the nuisance traffic or some of the traffic that could be dealt with in a much more efficient way, and it leaves them then freer to archive resources or do what they need to do. So that's, the National Archives is a good one to consider. And it's one of those, you can type in Ennis, you can type in County Clare, you can type in a surname or a town name, and you'd be amazed at what comes up. So it's well worth taking a look. Anyway, I found it useful. And then useful links for research. Now, that's the research. The first link is the National Library of Ireland, their list of researchers that they have it on a PDF. You click it on, it gives you, I think, 2 or 3, maybe 4 pages of researchers in Ireland that'll undertake commissioned research. And then the home page for the Clare Library website. I mentioned Ireland Reaching Out. I'm partial to that because I'm a volunteer with Ireland Reaching Out, but the good thing about Ireland Reaching Out is they do have what they call chronicles, which are ancestor profiles. People from anywhere in the world have put up profiles on ancestors. You never know what you're going to find there. It's like a reference, it's worth a look. Even if you just type in a name, or even a county or even a parish, you can get you might find some information. And there are some very interesting profiles. I will say there's some people that have done some great research abroad of people that came from County Clare. There's one great one from Clare there I know of that's on the site there. So those are just a list of the links that I've referred to, and I have some, I might add on to that because I might have mentioned other links that although I thought I was pretty, I thought I included them all. The other one that I wanted to mention, because somebody might mention it to me, is anybody familiar with the virtual treasury, the Beyond 2022? Has anybody had a look at that website? Yeah. So, and now this Beyond, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. The Beyond 2022 is a group that was created to try and salvage the material that had been lost in the fire 100 years ago, the famous Four Courts fire. So there's a group of conservationists or archaeologists, historians, anyway, a number of individuals that have gone to work, have gathered up these, in some cases they're just bits and pieces of papers, and have tried to recreate what those papers or what those documents contained. So 100 years to the day of the fire, the site went live. and it's the name of it is virtualtreasury.ip. If you Google that, it'll bring you to it. And it's a pretty amazing site because it gives you a tour, and it also gives you, if you're interested in finding out how they went about recreating some of this and preserving these documents or bits and pieces of documents. Very, very interesting. But it's well worth taking a look at. You could find yourself getting lost very quickly. I actually went into it this afternoon and got stuck into Cromwellian resettlement between 1654 and 1658 because they give you a list of surnames and they have them divided down by the barony. So, I mean, it's just kind of interesting to see the barony of Tulla Upper in Tulla, who was transplanted to or from, where were they transplanted from, and even those within County Clare were transplanted or resettled. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff on it. If you put in County Clare, you might have, I don't know, at least several thousand entries come up. If you put in Tullamore, if you put in O'Callaghan's Mills or Clonley, or if you put in Ennis, it's very interesting, and it's a whole range of different documents that can come up. So it's a very, very interesting site, and it's a site that is going to continue to be updated as they are working away on this documentation. So if there's any questions, that's the end of my slideshow. I know Larry, did you have your hand up in the back? Larry Parks? No, you didn't. Okay, sorry. I thought I saw your hand up. Now, I didn't do anything else other than County Clare, so I didn't put on any new Australian links or any new US links. There's so much stuff that's being updated now, and then a lot of these sites are updating themselves as they're adding new material. So you probably know of some things that you might know that have been updated since then, or since COVID has come upon us. But it just goes to show you that that things are continuing, people are continuing behind the scenes to add information, whether it's to the Clare Library website, or it's to subscription sites, or it's to other volunteer sites like the IGP. And there's lots of different documents and other information that is worth looking at in your genealogy research. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, fire away. Larry?
Yeah, Jane, a simple thing was proved tonight, the value of local knowledge.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
I think you credit Larry Parks while he was secretary. He introduced a new thing in Clare Roots that was you write in with your query and he circulates the query to somebody from your particular area. So, like, I look at Ennis ones, I see Eric Shaw there with Clare Castle, Mary Hester, Lisa Casey. So we have a built-up network within the society where these people have their finger on the pulse and can help and assist people. We will not do family trees or do your genealogy. We can assist you if you hit the famous wall, or we can guide you in a direction which may be helpful to you. The second thing in Ennis, one thing we have a very powerful site, and it was done by Clare Root Society members as well, was the parish records. Whereas the general records online go up to, is it 1880?
They are 1880, 1881.
Yeah.
Yeah, those registers that Sheila Duggy has done, because the microfilms only go up to that, yeah.
And well, Ennis, the index goes up to 1900, so it'll bring another 20 years in Ennis. So, like I say, we're out there if we can assist. There's a few of us out there that will try to guide you in a direction if you hit the wall. But we don't do it, I suppose.
No, and that's a good point to make there. And I did say that at the beginning, that we don't undertake research. We're volunteers. This is a volunteer group. But like that, we are happy to help. And like there is Larry and Ennis and Mary and Bally, Nick Howley, Lizzie Casey, Eric in Clare Castle, and I'm happy to help in Tulla. And I know somebody in Broadford that would be happy to help. You know, there's a network of us there, so never be, you know, don't be shy. And like that, you can write into the secretary there, Claire Rue's email in, and you know, it would be sent off to one of us, or maybe a few of us. We're happy to share. This is really what it's all about, is sharing and collaborating and preserving the you know, the history and the family history of the county. So we're very happy to do that. Anyway, does anybody have any other questions or comments? No.
Jane,
Yes.
you might remember Patty's daughter too.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, one thing, I see Dolores is doing something. I'll look at it. One thing I'd like to mention, I did mention the deceased members, and I'd also like to send our sympathies to Patty Casey out in Switzerland. Patty Casey is one of the founding members of Clare Roots as well, and he is one of our international members. Patty has done huge work and continues to update the Clare County Library website with all sorts of information. He's a very, very helpful person, a lovely man. Patty's daughter, Gabby, passed away this past summer, so I would like to extend our sympathies to Patty and his family on her passing as well. Thanks, Eric, for reminding me of that. Dolores, you had something up? Is it the book? I'm not sure. I think we are asking people. Oh yes, the books. Oh right, yes, we do have books for sale. We do actually have books for sale. Now those are my books. Well, they're not my books, they're Clare Root Society books, but I have some affiliation with them. But anyway, they are for sale if you'd like to purchase. They are €15 each. No pressure there, I'm just saying it's, you know, I don't mind bringing them home either. It's no problem. Just if you'd like to pick up a copy of the Clooney Graveyard book, or it's a Tulla Reaching Out, the most recent Tulla Reaching Out book, they're there. And now I think what I'll mention is our next meeting will be here again. Probably 8:15 is really the start time. Is that the 17th of October, I think, is that the date, the third Thursday? Liam Irwin will be speaking. Some of you may know Liam Irwin. He's the retired chair of the history department at Mary Immaculate College in Limerick. And he's very actively involved in Thomond Archaeological and Historical Society in Limerick. And he is going to be speaking about Thomas Johnson Westrop, who has Clare and Limerick roots, very well-known archaeologist, naturalist, I think is what they refer to him as. He's written loads of articles, and he also contributed to the Association of the Preservation of the Memorials of the Dead, a lot of the graveyards, as well as a lot of the monuments throughout Clare and Limerick. He's a very, very interesting man who Liam is going to be talking to us about next month. Is that?
I think the October meeting is on the 20th.
The 20th, sorry, I'm sorry, my dates are wrong. So the 20th of October, that's a Thursday night, the third Thursday, which is when our meetings are held, and it will be 8:15 here. There is membership dues. You probably have all paid this evening, but just so you know, it's €20. If you know somebody that's interested in joining, just let them know. And like that, this meeting has been recorded, or is being recorded, and that is going to be available on the Clare Root Society, the YouTube channel, and that will probably be put up on the on the website in the next couple of weeks or so.
All your slides will be on it, Jane.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so that's great. So you don't have to go screenshotting or whatever. You can wait for that. There's, you know, so anyway. So if anybody doesn't have any further questions, it's great to see you back. I hope we'll see you next month. Probably not yourselves, but have a safe trip home and enjoy the rest of your trip. And anyway, it's great to see you all back, and we'll see you next month on the 20th of October at 8:15 here Thursday. Okay? Thanks a million.
400